from the second I saw you as the Punisher, I could not wait for you to be included in the bigger MCU and alongside the Avengers, and we never got that. And I was curious, from day one of your conversation with Marvel, was there ever talk about you and the Punisher joining the MCU on the big screen? And I'm curious, from your perspective, why that never happened.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Guys, good to see all of you again. Congratulations on this. This movie was absolutely astounding. My only regret now is not having the chance to have seen it on stage. I've got to say, what's interesting is that this movie sort of, obviously, as you guys know, it crescendos into a man asking something of his friends that puts them in this impossible position where they don't know what to do. I'm curious, what's the most someone has ever asked of you in the entertainment industry? A co-star, a director, an agent, a publicist? What's the biggest ask of your professional career?
I could tell you one real quick. When I was like in my 20s making a short film in Queens, there was a part where the stuntman had to jump out of the rafters and land in mattresses, and he chickened out. And the director asked me, because he was my buddy, he's like, "Will you put the makeup on of the monster and do it?" And I was like, everyone's looking at me, and I was like, "Sure." And I did it, and I was terrified, but I did it. I jumped out of the rafters into a mattress for no money. That was probably the dumbest, scariest thing anybody ever asked me to do for no reason.
That's a huge ask. John, Shay, what about you guys?
I don't know. I'll defer to John.
I once had to sit on a bus. Next to Shea Wiggum all the way to the airport when we were rehearsing something down in Florida. And let me tell you, man, you know what I mean? I know Polano's jumping off rafters and stuff, but I mean, shit. I mean, when he starts talking, I know you wouldn't know it from this interview so far, but when he starts, dude, it doesn't stop. You know what I mean? So that was probably the hardest. I'm going to throw that up there.
Shay, what's it like sitting next to Jon Bernthal on a bus on the way to the airport?
Well, imagine, you just heard that. Imagine that for hours and hours.
That was a long trip to the airport.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. I love how these characters were taken from the stage to the screen. The transition, seeing that, and honestly, since I haven't seen the show on stage, wondering what that was like was amazing. And John and Shay, for you guys specifically, if you could take any of your screen roles, film or television, and reverse it, portray them on stage, which one would you have the most fun playing in front of a live audience?
Oof. God, these are tough questions, brother. Go ahead, John. If anything comes to mind, go ahead.
Look, I mean, I'll be honest with you. This is the one that I had the experience doing it with, and this is the one that I take. You know, there's a palpable energy to this play, as you can imagine. When the series of events I look at it kind of like a Tarantino piece. You never know what's going to happen next. The twist that John's built in to the film are unbelievable. You never see them coming, and they're fully realized, they're believable, and they're absolutely insane. So doing those on stage was such an interesting and fun night at the theater, because you could feel the audience literally just lose all their breath, fall apart. They couldn't believe what was actually going on. They were so scared. They were scared and excited for what was going to happen next. And I really think that our biggest challenge in creating this unbelievably successful play is, how do you do that in a movie? And I think John did it with the script, and I think that we did it with the finished product. I mean, I really think that that's there. This feeling you don't know what's going to happen next, and that it's scary and it's exciting, and that it keeps you constantly guessing.
I got to tell you guys, my girlfriend was working in the other room, and I kept screaming, "Oh, fuck," so many times while I was watching this movie that she eventually came out and goes, "What are you watching?" And I go, we'll watch it later. You can't come into it now. You can't jump into it. So, so I think you guys absolutely nailed the reaction that I'm assuming I would have had live in an audience. Mr. Bernthal, I have one nerdy question before I want to jump back to this film. From the second I saw you as the Punisher, I could not wait for you to be included in the bigger MCU and alongside the Avengers, and we never got that. And I was curious, from day one of your conversation with Marvel, was there ever talk about you and the Punisher joining the MCU on the big screen? And I'm curious, from your perspective, why that never happened.
I don't know, man. If they're talking about it, they're not including me in the conversation. You know what I mean? It's all above my pay grade, man. I wouldn't tell you even if I could.
Dude, I got $20 in my wallet, man. If it helps the budget on whatever it takes to, I know those Marvel budgets, man. I'm happy to contribute to like a GoFundMe or something to make it happen.
No, man.
And as we wrap up, shifting back to this film, whenever you play a doctor, you want to hear feedback from doctors to know if you did a good job. If you play a lawyer, you want lawyers to come up to you and say, man, you really nailed it. When you guys play characters who do bad things, whether it's in this project or another project, maybe they're on the wrong side of the law, do you hope to get feedback from people? And I'm curious, have you ever gotten feedback from someone that you weren't expecting based on their knowledge of maybe a darker character that you've played?
I think what's interesting about the play and the movie, and again, I've had a lot more experience with initial reactions stepping off stage, was the whole range of reaction. In particular, women love small engine repair. They love the story. They get that it's authentic and what it's really saying, that it's a feminist diatribe. You know what I mean? And they get that. So I've always loved how some people have like a Brechtian distance to the characters. A lot of people are like, I would do the same thing. A lot of them are like, I don't know what I would do. And I think that was the beauty of the project. I was always shocked at, I don't want to spoil it, but one of the things people would consistently say was, I wish you went further. Women especially. I wish you went further with what happened.
That's interesting. Well, John and Shay, when someone comes up to you on the street and says like, hey, like the brutal scene that I saw, I really wish you guys have taken it even further. What does that say about us as an audience?
Oh boy.
Oh. Johnny, take that.
I think the hunger for look, I think it speaks to the audience right now. I think people want to be challenged. They want to be pushed. I think you can see anything in the world, on your little phone there. So, we're storytellers. We got to be brave enough to push the envelope. And again, not to be just shameless about it, but I think we really do that in this film. I really do. And as far as the people that see it, what I love is that, look, this is about a little section of New Hampshire and some folks that usually people don't make movies about. Guys grew up together, blue collar guys sort of our generation who are sort of feeling kind of left aside. And, it's kind of where Jon comes from and how he grew up. And what I found both in the play and for the folks that have seen this is that I'd say, hey, man, that's me. That's me and my buddies. I recognize this. I recognize those guys. And what I love is that, again, this is a film just like it was, in the stage play that cops and firemen and fighters can go see, and also the theater audience. And like what Jon's talking about, women, it brings up all these issues, but it's not in some spoon-fed over the top way. There's nothing political about it, but there's definitely something challenging and provoking about it. And I think we were really successful with that. And it's not the kind of movie that you will regret seeing. Like it will do something to you.
If you can explore darkness in art, so you don't have to do it in your real life, then that's a gift.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. But I got to tell you, you guys took up an hour 40 of my life, and it's been a couple of days since I've seen it, and I can't stop thinking about it. So it's hanging with me, guys. I know these are some weird questions I threw at you. I tried to throw some stuff that you hadn't heard 10,000 times today. So I appreciate you sticking with me. But guys, congratulations on this. The project is masterful, and I know you have a busy schedule, so I appreciate you fitting me in.
And we appreciate you, man.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.